Man, I can't get away from that Dirk thing. Holy cow. Thank you to the Jesuit Letterman's Club and Jesuit Sports Hall of Fame for this incredible honor. Congratulations to my fellow inductees, Mr. Hogan, Mr. Stevens, and Mr. Wallace. Each of you so deserving and accomplished, not only in your respective sports, but also in life. I feel super proud to be recognized alongside each of you this evening. As I stand here before you tonight, and I think about all the great memories, teammates, coaches, and friends the game of basketball has brought to my life, I'm incredibly humbled. This honor, me standing before you tonight, is about more than Kyle Wilson and anything that I ever accomplished on the basketball court. It's about more than any individual awards, trophies, or stat sheets. To me, it's about my family, my parents, Steve and Jackie, my brothers, Bryant and Cameron, my wife, Jinhae, and my kids, Elena, Reeves, Selah, and Eden. In addition to them, it's about Jesuit Ranger basketball, my teammates and my coaches. My accomplishments are a direct reflection on these people, and I share this honor with them. First and foremost, it's about family. My dad, Steve, has always been my coach. Whether in life or in sports, he's never been shy about sharing his words of wisdom with his sons. I don't have many memories from youth sports where he wasn't coaching the team in some form or fashion. And even if he wasn't officially the coach, you can bet he was right there on the sideline to instruct and encourage. As I got older and into Jesuit, his options for officially coaching became limited, but that never deterred him from being there. I remember early in my freshman year at Jesuit, I had just made the freshman A football team, and we were in the midst of early season practice in 2 days. We were a few minutes into the second practice of the day down on the lower field when I look over to see my dad's car parked on Willow Lane, just south of the practice field. He didn't just happen to be there, get there early to pick me up. No, he was there to observe. The car rides home consisted of questions about what he saw, encouragement, and again, his pointers for things to work on. Now, I can't say that at that time, my dad's knowledge of football was much more than that of a fan of the game. But I'll tell you, on those car rides home, he coached his son like he was Bill Belichick. As I developed and I started having more success in basketball, my dad had to get more sophisticated in how he was going to be around. I was about to head out to the University of Illinois for my first experience in Division I basketball. At some point before leaving, my dad handed me a laminated card about the size of a credit card. On it, it said, "Keys to minutes. Be aggressive. Do the little things." And in all caps, rebound, rebound, rebound. He knew it was going to be more difficult to sneak in and watch these practices and decided to give me his pointers ahead of time. He knows this, but I still have this card in my wallet as I stand up here today. To me, it's not so much about the content of the card, but the meaning behind it. My dad never pushed me in sports or life for his own gain. He saw potential in me that I didn't necessarily see in myself and pushed me to get there. And probably, more important than anything, he just wanted to be a part of the journey. Dad, thank you. As much as my dad was the coach, my mom, Jackie, was the ultimate fan. I can't even imagine how many hours she spent at games, practices, in the car, driving to tournaments, in support of me over the years. Always in the stands, always cheering loudly and passionate for me, and sometimes cheering loudly and passionately against the other team. I remember hearing some stories from my times at Wichita State. We were playing LSU on the road in Baton Rouge. She gets in an altercation with a fan because he asked her, not so nicely, to sit down. I'm sure she responded, not so nicely, no. We were playing Syracuse on the road in the Carrier Dome. Another argument with an opposing fan because of her passionate support of her son and the Shockers. We were playing Bradley on the road again in Peoria. Again, my mom dressed in her Wichita State Wilson jersey, not even trying to blend in or be unnoticed, is cheering loudly for her son. All of a sudden, the entire student section is chanting, "Mrs. Wilson." I can't say there weren't other words being thrown in there, but nonetheless, she always seemed to bring out a reaction in opposing fans. I tell these stories not to embarrass her, but to say thank you. You see, my mom was an athlete, a damn good one. She knows what it's like to compete and fight and win. She couldn't be out there on the floor with me, so she competed from the stands. She stood, cheered, hollered for me, as you can tell, many times to the frustration of opposing fans. As big a fan as she was for me in sports, she's a bigger fan in my life. I'll never forget her picking me up from school one day in 8th grade. I opened the door to the car, and on the front seat was a Jesuit ball cap, a t-shirt, and my acceptance letter. We celebrated the joy of a dream come true on the ride home, a memory I'll cherish forever. Mom, thank you. As kids, growing up in Chicago in the early 90s, my brother Brian and I were big on the Chicago Bulls. I can remember time after time, him and I reenacting famous Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan moments. Fighting, of course, on who got to play the role of Michael in our scenarios. Those pretend games as youth turned into some heated games of one-on-one as we got older. If I know two things standing here today, I know I won more of those games as a kid, only due to being older, bigger, and occasionally cheating if necessary. And two, I wouldn't dare play you today. Bri was there for much of what I achieved in basketball. When I was a senior at Jesuit, he was a freshman. Following my senior basketball season, I would come up to the school early in the morning and work on my game. Bri volunteered to come and help. In reality, he didn't really have a choice because I was his ride. But nonetheless, he was there in the gym, working on his game with me, just like Michael and Scotty. Bri, even though I'm the older brother, I look up to you. Thank you. If there's one person that didn't have a choice in being around to watch his older brother, it was my youngest brother, Cam. 10 years my junior, he was drugged every game, high school and college. He sacrificed a lot of his youth at my tournaments, riding in the car, and at my games. He could actually be considered one of the longest tenured Jesuit students. I don't mean that in a bad way, but even as a 6- and 7-year-old, it seemed everyone at Jesuit knew who Cameron Wilson was. His personality was infectious, and he bled blue and gold. Cam, I'm proud of you. Thank you. I was fortunate enough to spend 5 years of my life traveling the world and pursuing my dream of playing professional basketball. In that 5 years, I lived in 5 different countries, Germany, Austria, Cyprus, Hungary, and Israel. In that 5 years, I met a lot of amazing people, experienced many different cultures, and won many more basketball games. The best part about it all is I had my wife, Janae, with me for all of it. Janae was at every game during that time, even if it was on the road. Looking back on it, I think she was a little crazy, because she would jump in the car and venture across completely unfamiliar territory in foreign countries so she could watch her husband play on the road. She wanted to be there, and I loved the fact she was. Janae loved to watch my games and loved to watch me play well. On multiple occasions, I remember coming home from tough games expecting sympathy from my wife. Something like, "It's okay, keep your head up," or "Hang in there, the next game will be better." But that's not Janae. It was more like, "Kyle, you really didn't hustle for those rebounds." Or, "You didn't play very aggressive tonight." She had high expectations and was not afraid to let me know if I was falling short. Janae, to this day, you still push me to be the best version of myself. I love you. Thank you. Jesuit Ranger basketball was my first real dream. My family and I moved to Texas when I was in the 6th grade. Pretty quickly after being here, without knowing anything about the school, I was invited to a Jesuit Ranger basketball game with my good friend, Daniel Fleischer. It was my first introduction to Jesuit. The tradition, the atmosphere, the people, and the brotherhood consumed me. Over the next few years, I went to many more games. I spent time each summer at the Jesuit Ranger basketball camp. I dreamed of wearing the blue and gold, but I didn't know what my future had in store. Over my high school career, Jesuit Ranger basketball gave me so much joy and countless memories that I'll cherish forever. But more importantly than that, it gave me incredible people. To my Jesuit coaches, Scott Jolly, Jack Fitzsimmons, and Fred Youngman. Each of these men taught me new ways to look at and play the game of basketball, and developed myself and my teammates as players. But more important than the X's and O's, more important than the wins and losses, and more important than any halftime speeches, these men provided a love and caring for each of us as men, which is unique to the Jesuit experience. I'm so very thankful for each of these men and their contributions to my life and my career. Everyone here knows that Jesuit is much more than athletics, and it's much more than any one person. More than anyone or anything, my teammates over my 4 years made me who I was. Together we celebrated success. Together we agonized over failure. Together we loved basketball and loved Jesuit. We will forever share memories and pride about what we were able to accomplish, and I share this honor with them. The game of basketball has given me more than I could have ever imagined. I've had the opportunity to play against the best players in the biggest arenas, in front of the craziest fans, and the best environments the game has to offer. I've had the opportunity to learn from the best coaches and the privilege to play in 7 different countries around the world. But tonight, for me, it ends where it all began. I dreamed of playing basketball for the Jesuit Rangers, and I'll forever be proud to represent Jesuit Ranger basketball in the Hall of Fame. Thank you.